Rockhopper here. Let's compare the 2006 Honda CR-V versus the 2025 Toyota Rav4 Hybrid. Which is the better expedition vehicle? What I'm about to tell you may surprise you. I'm saying goodbye to my old vehicle, the 2006 Honda CR-V, and saying hello to my new vehicle, the Toyota Rav4 Hybrid. But which is really the better all-around expedition vehicle? Both of these vehicles are all-wheel drive and have the exact same clearance at 8.1 inches. What's underneath the hoods? Let's have a look. The Honda has a 2.4 liter engine, while the Rav comes with a 2.5 liter engine. This is a look at the engine. You do have a variable transmission with the hybrid. With the gas model, you have an 8-speed transmission. The 2025 Rav4 Hybrid does have 219 horses pulling for it, better than the gas model at 203 horses. The CR-V has 156 horsepower. The CR-V takes 520 oil, while the Rav4 takes 016. The advantage of the Rav4, as you can imagine, being a hybrid, it's going to save you a lot of money on gasoline. With a hybrid Rav4, you can average about 40, maybe even 45 miles a gallon, and if you're super lucky, maybe even 50 miles per gallon for a time. Let's have a look inside the 2025 Rav4 Hybrid, which is my new car. First off, you've got all-weather mats down here, rubberized mats, and that's a cool thing to have, especially for a guy like me who's getting muddy shoes on occasion, or maybe more than on occasion, depending on where I'm going. You've got a nice interior. The seats are pretty comfortable. I've taken it for one or two drives so far. And up here, you've got your screen, which shows the radio stations and GPS and all that kind of thing. And down here, there are different modes that you can use. This is a trail mode for rougher roads when you're going off the highway, gravel, dirt, whatever. There's also an economy, like an EV mode, when you just want to run it off the electric hybrid part. Say you're in a drive-through or something and you don't want to just be using up gas and you don't have far to go, that kind of thing. You've got some back seats here, and we can come around here and I'll show you how those come down. You just pull this right here, lay the seats down. Now the only unfortunate thing is these do not lay perfectly flat. So there is a little bit of an angle, you know, if you want to sleep in the back and you're camping and that kind of thing. Now I'm going to probably end up doing some kind of a build out on this because these seats don't lay flat and they take up a bit of space. There's actually not as much headroom in here as there was in the CR-V. Alter this just a little bit and make it into more of a camping vehicle. So I'll probably have to pull this back seat up. As you can see, you pull that up and out, and then I'll probably have to put in some plywood or something, and I'll probably have to just remove these back seats, or at least this part, the 60% part of the back seat, from the vehicle, so that I can make this into more of an expedition and camping type vehicle. One nice thing about the CR-V is once I took the part of the back seats out, it pretty much lays perfectly flat, so you can just have your foam pad and just sleep right on there. I left that back seat in right there, but I took this back seat out right here, and because I did that, there is a lot of room in the back of the CR-V. Pull this down, you got a couple cup holders there, that's pretty cool. You do have some air that comes out in the back for your passengers if need be. Now this little gadget right here, you can switch it to eco when you first start the vehicle, and that means it saves on gas. You lose a little bit of performance apparently. Haven't tried it out just yet. If you go this way to sport, that gives you more power, but it does apparently compromise your fuel economy a little bit, so just keep that in mind. But you know, it might be fun to have that little boost of power. Push start in the Rav4, key in the CR-V. The Honda has its own version of the trail mode, and that's the VSA button that you can hit, which gives you more traction to individual wheels apparently, and it does seem to help when you're climbing up steep rocky slopes that are loose or anything like that. Let's look in the back here. Let's go around the hatchback. Take I got the hatchback without the automatic control. I don't, I've got enough strength in my arms. I can certainly do the hatchback myself. I don't need the automatic. Again, you've got the rubberized mats. Under here is where you've got your little donut tire. Now that's a bit of a problem for me because I'm going to have to put in a full-size spare due to the nature of everything I do, tripping around in some very, very remote places. The CRV comes with a full-size spare, which the Rav4 does not have. Full-size spare on the Honda came in very handy at one point while I was traveling up in the Arctic when I got a flat in basically the middle of nowhere. And I went to the auto shop and they said, use the spare as your main because the tire I was using was a little bit too damaged. So I ended up using that spare for 6,000 miles. On the CRV, the shifter is up on the dash, which leaves more room down below, and you've got a flippable console which you can store things down in there underneath, which the Rav4 does not have. It has a console. Lots of room to store things in here on the CRV and down in here as well. Driver's door has plenty of pocket space here and down in here, little map pockets. And the same thing on the other door behind the driver's seat. The place where you can put your maps or whatever you want in the doors are bigger on the CRV, and you got some extra space up there. The Rav4 seems to have less compartments and little nooks and crannies in which to store things. You do have a little one there. It's smaller than the CRV. Now over here, again, smaller than the CRV, like a little map pocket there. The CRV one goes all the way pretty much to the end of the door. You've got your power windows and all that stuff right here. And you got a little bit of storage right here. Got your ports there. And I think there's a couple of other ones somewhere around here. I just got this car, so I'm not totally familiar with it just yet. So we'll just see what else is in this thing. Well, you do have a little screen you can hook in there, a little cover. And that's how that works. Cup holders right there. Over here you do have this little compartment right there with the console. Looks like we've got a couple more USB charging ports right here inside the console. A little place right up here. Maybe put your sunglasses or something like that. Got a USB port and cigarette lighter right there. Slightly better visibility looking out the side windows on the CRV. 18.5-inch high windows. By comparison, the Rav has 16.5-inch windows, and it is important seeing out the side because you can avoid rocks and plants and trees and things when you're going up rough roads. The CRV window comes down farther, and it makes it harder in the Rav to see what's going on at your side when you're driving. Especially on the passenger side, you're more likely to hit an obstacle, especially if you're going down some rough roads. In the CRV, it has more of an angle coming up, bit of a rounded, more of a snub-nosed sort of front, whereas the Toyota has more of a square, so it seems more prone to scraping the ground when you're going down gullies and such on steep angles. Power seats on the Rav4, I didn't have them on the CRV, but to be honest with you, I really didn't need them. On the passenger side, there's not a power seat. It's just your standard pull them up and push them back kind of seats. Power steering, tilt wheel. In the Rav, the back here is more curved, whereas the CRV had more of a straight door back, which made it great for sitting back, leaning against it, and editing in the evenings or whenever. So this is going to be a little bit different. I might have to stuff some pillows in there or something, but that's going to give me a little less room as far as all that goes because, I'll have a little bit less leg room going on, I think. This is the back. There is a backup camera right here, which is nice, and the CRV didn't have one of those. Glove compartment, or as you might say over in England, the glove box, is fairly small in CRV, and I think the Rav only has marginally bigger space in its glove compartment. Just above the glove compartment in the CRV, you've got this here where you can stash things right in there, which is pretty handy. I've put a lot of things in there as I was traveling along. In the CRV you have this, and you've got this little cup holder that pulls out here. Also you can go down here and there's another compartment to stash stuff. To the left of the steering wheel you have a little compartment here where you can put things, and just below that on the CRV you can put things in here as well. In the CRV above your head you can put your sunglasses or whatever you want in there. The Rav4 also has that compartment. Being that it's an '06 CRV, it does have a tape deck even, and a CD player plus a radio, whereas the Rav4 only has radio. Although on the Rav you can subscribe to Sirius XM if you want. Here in the CRV there seem to be more pockets and nooks and crannies in which to place things as opposed to the Rav4. The CRV comes with mud flaps front and rear. The Rav, however, does not have mud flaps. Both the CRV and the Rav4 have nice alloy wheels. Two 1565s on a 16-inch rim on the CRV, and over on the Rav you've got two 2565 on a 17-inch rim. On the CRV, from here up to here, there is more space than on the Rav4. That allows for a lot more headroom. You don't hit your head as you do on the Rav4. It's actually 37 on the CRV from the bottom to the top and the back. And then if you drop over that lip and you come up, well, then you've got 39 inches by comparison from the bottom coming up to the top there. It's about 36 inches. One main difference between the CRV is on the CRV you have a door that opens up. On the Rav4 you have a hatchback. Another nice feature of the CRV is this window that opens up on the door. And what I would do in the summer is I'd put screen with magnets and attach it right here to keep the bugs out, and I could still have nice fresh air ventilation in the evening. The driver's visibility seems slightly better on the CRV. It seems like under the CRV seats there's more storage space. Pockets behind both the driver's and passenger side seats in the CRV, whereas the Rav4 only has one pocket behind the passenger seat. The CRV has multiple ways to get inside. If your fob battery runs dead, you've got a lock here, you've got a lock on the other side of the car as well, and you've also got a lock here in the back, so you can get in if you've got a problem where your fob goes dead and your key is too rounded to go into the driver's side door, which did actually happen to me. Then I came around, luckily I had this lock on the passenger side door, so I came around there and got in. Accessing what's within the vehicle while the kayak is atop it is much easier on the CRV due to its having a door rather than a hatchback. With the Rav, I have to push the kayak forward as much as possible, and even then the hatch doesn't come up very high, making access difficult. Because of higher clearance in the CRV, I could load the fully assembled mountain bike in a matter of seconds. With the Rav, I have to take the front wheel off and try to shimmy the bike in, and then place the front tire somewhere, and simply can't roll the bike right in. As far as being user-friendly, the Honda CRV takes the cake because it doesn't have all the crazy bells and whistles and annoying beeps and things like the Toyota Rav4 does. It's just a lot easier to use. You don't have to be a computer program to figure it out. The Toyota is a much more annoying car to drive. It seems like it's always beeping at me or buzzing. For instance, when I need to open the driver's side door when backing up to see anything at the side of the vehicle, or to judge the back more effectively because the wide-angle backup camera gives you a distorted sense of view and makes obstacles like rocks that could damage your vehicle look smaller than they are. There's an annoying buzz every time I do that. If I get out of the car to open a gate, for instance, the car makes 8 beeps, which, if you're trying to be stealth and quietly head to a campsite at the end of the day, can be detrimental to you getting to your spot, especially if it's a bit sketchy. You don't want to alert others to your presence. Not all the bells and whistles on the Toyota are annoying. Some of them are actually quite helpful safety features. The reason I chose the Toyota Rav4 Hybrid over getting a new CRV is because the year after this CRV, 2007, onward, they turned them from an expedition-type vehicle with a full-size spare into soccer mom cars, and I was not impressed. Why take a perfectly good expedition-type vehicle and turn it into a soccer mom car? As far as I'm concerned, the '06 was the last best year for the Honda CRV. I think most people will agree that both the Honda and the Toyota are both very good cars, and they're both very similar in style and performance. I haven't even had the Rav4 for a month, and already it's kind of falling apart. This thing came off, which is one of these. Here's an update. I've only had the car a couple months, and the skid plate has now fallen off, and we can add that to those little tailpipe decor things. So you would think if they're going to make a skid plate, they would make it out of metal, right? Or at least aluminum, but no, it's plastic. So it's not going to do a lot of good. And I went to the Toyota dealer and I said, hey, skid plate fell off, and can you put that thing back on for me? And they said, oh, that's an external thing. We can't help you with that. Not covered under the warranty. You'll have to pay for that if you want it put back on. So I said, nah, I'll do it myself later on. I would imagine a rock scraped against it while I was driving, and that's what knocked it off. The Rav4 seems to be a more delicate car. The interior seems more prone to showing scratches and scuffs. I suggest getting a black Sharpie marker with your new Rav4, so you can hide all those little scratches and scuff marks. This silver plastic, which I suppose is supposed to emulate the look of chrome or metal, seems particularly prone to getting scratched or scuffed by things rubbing up against it. While Toyota has a reputation for making good cars, I think they should put less effort into making them look pretty and more effort into making them expedition worthy. The Rav4 seems to be falling apart piece by pretty piece. I think I'll just leave those off. The door handle is more difficult in the Rav due to the configuration of the handle. It's angled, and the CRV is straight across, horizontally, which makes it easier to close when you're in the back, especially if you want to gently close the door so as not to be detected when stealth camping. You really have to give the Rav door quite a pull to shut it. So in conclusion, the 2006 Honda CRV is, as far as user-friendliness, spaciousness of the interior, and having a full-size spare, being an all-around expedition vehicle, is the better vehicle. However, as far as power, performance, and gas saving, fuel economy, the Rav4 Hybrid definitely beats the CRV. It has a fair amount of room in here as well, but just not as much as the CRV, and the layout is a bit different. It doesn't have all the little nooks and crannies and pockets and things to put things in, and it does have the console in the middle, which the CRV does not, which allows you to store more things where that console would have been. The reason being is you have the shifter up on the dash in the CRV, which allows all that extra space where the console would have been. So that's it, 2006 Honda CRV, 2025 Toyota Rav4 Hybrid. Tell me what you think in the comments. Does anybody have an 06 CRV still? And how do you like your 2025 Rav4 Hybrid? Let me know. Thanks. And don't forget to give me a like on the video, share, and subscribe. Till next time, this is the Rockhopper. I'll see ya.